Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. To God be all the glory for waking us up on this day, giving us a day we never seen before. We give him thanks for all things with a grateful heart. Yes, with a grateful heart because God didn't have to do it, but he did it anyhow. I'm up here very early this morning, almost 7 a.m. in the morning, but I just wanted to come with you to get my shout out. I wanted to be the first one to shout out happy heavenly birthday to our father of civil rights, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a faithful servant, a peacemaker, a champion of justice. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Matthew 5 and 9. Amen. Don't be mad about it. Rejoice about it. Okay? So I wanted to just come real quickly this morning and I just played the little of Kells in the background. I'm still trying to listen to the lyrics, Lily. If you come to my video, I'm still trying to be a part of this R. Kelly fan family contest, lyric contest. Okay, I know he did say something about he is in the cell and he is just like he missed the club, and also how he wants to make sure his fans be taken care of first and everybody else comes second. Um, and that's so far what I got in the lyrics. I'm going to continue to listen so I can continue to find out what is or he's saying in the song, because he's doing it like in a speed talk, so it's kind of hard. My mind don't move that quick. I'm kind of 60 now. I'm a 60-year-old woman now. So, and I love it. I'm embracing it. I am really, truly embracing it. With wisdom, the things God has shown me over the years. And I was built for this. I was built for this. Okay. So, all this that's going on right now, I was in the making. Because Dr. Martin Luther King was already making it for me. Okay? Dr. King is the man of justice, and I don't care what nobody say about him while he's dead. Don't try to rewrite his story. Leave well enough alone, okay? Because I was being born in the time that he was out there in the fight. Him, Malcolm X, the Black Panther Party, and other groups that were fighting on the ground, okay? On the ground that was fighting for human rights to help Black America. So don't come with me with all of that stuff about Dr. King did this and that and he marched the black people right into a burning fire and all that other stuff. Okay, that's how you feel. You have every right to express that. But don't try to rewrite his story. I don't appreciate it, especially coming from Black America. I'm mainly talking to Black America. White people, I'm not surprised for what they say. Okay, they out there now catching hell. All those liberal white folks that's out there now just doing the craziness they doing. If they would have handled this back in 1960, whatever, we wouldn't have this mess right now going on in America because these motherfuckers would have been whipped at the door. Okay, they should have been whipped at the door before they got into the United States of America. But being so stupid, instead of the donkeys, I'm going to call them the donkeys, the liberal party, okay? The liberal party, the social democrat party or whatever, the party that is now opened up to illegals and immigrants and all this other stuff. See, America was never about immigrants. It was about people that wanted to become American, not immigrant, okay? Now we did take in we used TPS. We used that as a way to bring people here that was in countries that was having, wars and famine and things of that nature was going on, or maybe we needed migrant workers for a season and they was over here as immigrants, but it was only for TPS, for work immigrant for as my migrant workers, and that was in every part of the world. But we didn't ask for you to come here to be on welfare and to try to scam us and fraud us through our system. Okay, it's a difference there. You were not born here. None of this, nothing here belongs to you. Everything that supposed to belong to you belongs to your country. You supposed to have left all that behind. If you came here to, I would say, naturalize with us and become an American citizen, you were supposed to bring your own resources. You don't come here to America and expect Americans to support and take care of you. Now we aid you as TPS. That was TP, temporary protected service statuses. That's only because your country was having some wars going on. So for to help you, we brought you here so you can have a chance to work while you here, and also regain your resources so you can go back to your homeland or back to your country. And I think we did a good job at that. Considering what Black America went through. Okay, that's why I had to write the truth about Dr. Martin Luther King as one of his children that was in the making in the time he was here with us on this earth. Okay? When my mother gave birth to me during that season. And I don't appreciate anybody getting up there just so that they looking for optics or looking for some kind of way to make themselves famous, that they're going to use his name to erase his story and rewrite his story. I think that's totally disrespect, and whatever got coming is coming to you for doing that. Because one thing God reminds us of is Jesus says, he's not the God of the dead. He's the God of the living. And the way your story goes down when you go down is how your story is to end. Nothing else is added. Okay? That's the same thing with Christ. When Christ went down and he left the scriptures behind to fulfill the story, the scriptures, I mean, that's it. No more, nothing added to it. You have a right for your opinion, how you felt about the civil rights movement. You can speak on how you felt about the movement if that's the way you felt. But see, you wasn't there. You didn't live through that experience. You didn't go through that experience. My parents went through that experience. Okay? And the story was passed down to me and from other generations. And we pass the story down to our children. So this has nothing to do with white America history. They don't care because they're not going to accept the accountability of some of the things that they did to Black America. The liberals. I said my dream for Black America was equality, to be recognized as fully human, fully American, and treated as first class citizens in the nation our ancestors helped build through blood, labor, and sacrifice. The dream was never about replacement or eraser. My march was nonviolent. We did not attack federal agents, even as we were attacked by police, dogs, fire hose, batons, tear gas, and unjust laws. We did not control the media. We did not incite chaos. We endured suffering with discipline and moral restraint. I was jailed many times. My home was bombed. My life was threatened repeatedly. I was even stabbed by a black woman in a crowd, misled by those who claimed I was endangering domestic workers' jobs, when in truth I was fighting to give them a voice and dignity. Yet still I did not retaliate. I did not seek vengeance against any man. I chose the higher law. I followed the law under God, not the passion of man. I followed Jesus Christ. Now, there are those who seek to rewrite history, to distort my witness, my methods, and my sacrifice. But the truth remains. I lay down my life willingly, not for violence, not for disorder, but for justice, obedience to God, and the moral soul of America. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Matthew 5 and 9. What I did for Christ is what endures. Not my will, but his will was done. Though my body went to the grave, My spirit of hope, resilience, strength, integrity, and goodwill lives on, moving through generation, yet unborn. Happy heavenly birthday, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. There will never, ever be anyone to replace you. That is sealed in the book of life, and that is while you was crowned by your Father which is in heaven, and you sitting right there on the right side with your brother, Jesus Christ. Amen. So don't try to erase his story. Don't try to make him sound like he was some troublemaker to America, because the truth is right now showing you who was the troublemaker in America. Those liberal Americans out there, those liberal white Americans out there, more. But the black woman goes right along and follow her. Okay? Goes right ahead and follow a foolish woman. Spirit of Jezebel and Ahab. These women are masculine and hard and rebellious and angry and just crazy. They're not rational, that are leading these protests and that are out there, like what we just witnessed, what happened to the young lady who lost her life, Renee Good. She might have been a good person in some way, but she wasn't listening to the right people. She wasn't surrounding herself with good people. I feel sorry, like I feel the same way how JD Vance felt for that woman's life. Not saying that it wasn't worth anything. It was the choice that she made that was a dangerous choice. And the fact that she didn't think about putting herself first, like her children, especially, to be here for her, especially 6 year old who just lost his dad in 2023. And now he had to hear the news of losing his mother in this nonsense. And like a lot of people are saying, the girlfriend who told her to drive, baby, drive in that dangerous situation should be held accountable for somehow a cause to her death. That wasn't a very wise thing to do. If anything, you should have told her to prompt her to get out the car and say, baby, don't drive, baby. She said, just park the car, babe, park the car. That's all she should have said. See, at least listen to the officer, babe. That's what she should have said. Not drive, baby, drive. Okay? I don't care how they're going to try to dress it up and try to pretend and make it seem like, oh, it was more the officer's fault. There was that woman standing right there, and the camera's right there on her saying, drive, baby, drive. And also antagonizing and saying things to the officer, to a agent, a federal agent out there. I don't know what she was saying some stuff about her tags and everything, and then she gonna be here the next day and it's gonna be the same tags and other things that she was saying that was provoking the officers. It wasn't like, see, the officers was watching her. She was sitting there in the middle of traffic blocking them until the officers approached her car and told her to get out of the car. He told her, one of the officers was already walking towards the vehicle telling her to get away, get out the car, while the other one stood in front of the car. And she went, and her girl told her to drive, baby, drive. Okay? And these people are trying to come with all these lawsuits and craziness. Well, you know what? You fighting a war you cannot win. Not when you fighting up against federal agents who were on their lawful duty on an ICE operation and you was impeding them. Okay? So let's see how you going to find that in the law to justify that. Especially when Americans right now are just fed up because the American people asked for this. That these people be be deported. or they do something to make arrests for these criminals, like Lake and Raleigh, a Georgia student, and a South Carolina woman by Larissa Thompson, who was killed by six illegals who dragged this woman out of her car. And God, I don't even want to say the things they did to her, okay? Six illegals. And Lake and Raleigh, what they did to that poor young white girl. What a shame. Never even heard about the story. To be honest with you, I didn't even hear her story until President Trump was running for this election. I didn't even know about these people who went down by the hands of criminals that are illegal. I didn't know their story because nobody was saying anything. But y'all out here trying to protect these dangerous terrorists, illegals out there, they and out, domestic terrorists that are out there, and y'all you being paid or funded to do, put your lives as body shields out there for these wicked people that's operating the battery in your back. Okay? Value your life. This man here that I'm celebrating on this screen today, we didn't do stupid stuff. We had no other choice but to hit the streets, but in a peaceful way so that we could be seen and we could be heard because America wasn't being honest. While you was home in your country, while you thought that American people had it so wonderful here, black Americans especially, and what we was suffering and enduring in America, that was a reason to stand for justice and fight against the injustice, our human rights. But you people are just feel entitled. You feel like America owe you something when America owe you nothing. You are in the land of freedom and opportunity where you can make it better for yourself. Follow the law. That's all you got to do. Follow the law. But some people have a hard time doing that. And it's not even their fault because of the leaders that they have that encourage them to bad behavior, that encourage them to go against an ICE agent and get up in an ICE agent's face and try to hit a ICE agent with your car and all of these stupid things. Even in some place called a church, they were doing it. Shout out to April Chapman. Even though I don't agree with everything April says, but there's some things I could go with her on. Okay, it was a church out there in some state where a whole bunch of liberals packed up and was training in a church, in a church, how to resist an ICE agent, how to defend yourself when you're being grabbed by an ICE agent. Instead of just going down, put your hands up, go down, even lay yourself down on the floor and put your hands over your head or whatever they got to do to cuff you. I would rather teach them to do that. How about that? How about that? Telling them to resist is the dangerous, stupidest things you can do and say. These people are real stupid. I can't believe it. I can't believe this stuff. In 2026, that people brain is operating like that. What's wrong with these people? Well, anyway, let's celebrate the beautiful light. Let's celebrate those who really put their life on the line for truth and justice. And from what I understand, this stupid woman, and I'm gonna show you her, Ross, whatever from Night Court. What a dummy! This stupid woman from Night Court. Where's Ross from Night Court at? I know I did something on Ross from the Night Court situation. But anyway, we're gonna go here with Ross, okay? And this is Captain. This is Lieutenant. This is Superintendent. Up here, of course, is Larry Snelly in Chicago. He's the superintendent out there. He came out and gave some really sound, good advice and safety. Even though he may not agree with ICE agents being in the communities or whatever, but he still told the people to do what is right. And that's good leadership. Regardless to the way you feel about your emotions, about the ICE agents here. I understand people get hyped and whatever, but at least follow the law so it won't harm you. Keep yourself safe. And he wrote down things for public safety requirements, the discipline, not threats. Don't get it. And this woman here did the wrong thing. The down below here, this bio Bilal woman, whatever her name is, she's not taking these people feelings and these people into consideration of danger. She got a gun and a badge. A lot of people don't got no guns and no and all of this other stuff to protect them. So the least thing you could do is give them some good sound advice. Not to tell them come get this smoke. Acting like the big bad black woman. And that was a dangerous thing to say. And this, like I said, you can't act on emotions. And I found that very foolish of her in her protests. Things like this we don't do. And these are the things that people that live in these places, that vote for these people, while this is going on, take your notes. Watch what they say and what they do. Like Frey gonna get up there and try to turn this whole thing on Donald Trump administration, the federal agents, DHS, and all this other stuff. They wouldn't be there if you were doing your job, Jay. Frey, Frey, Frey. Hello, Jacob Frey. Hello. Federal agents will not be in the streets of Minneapolis if you were doing your job. You would have worked with Department of Homeland Security and with ICE to allow them to pick up these people and remove them safely from the jail. They will not be swarming your communities. They will not be threatening in your community. We wouldn't have this problem, Mr. Frey, Jacob Frey. He's young. He needs guidance. And because he's been getting away with it for 3 or whatever years because of Biden and Harris administration. All these people have been getting away with doing wrong because they was going unchecked. Now that the big elephant is in the house, I call it the elephant, the Republicans who stand on law. Now they mad. They trying to do everything they can to distract you or confuse you or to get protesters out there to do what they do, okay, to keep the real problem off of what's going on. And they say of the fraud in Minnesota around those Somalians, okay? This ain't got nothing to do with Renee Good. This ain't got nothing to do with all the other nonsense they out there trying to tell you. This is because everybody is going to be held accountable. Because this should not have gone on that long unchecked. So I think at this point, President Trump, because of his term is only 3, 4 years, he's going to do as much as he can to get the job done. And people have been warned to stay out of his way. To stay out of the way with the federal agents. Just do what you got to do as far as follow the law And like I said, if you are an immigrant here and your status was on, you have not, checked on your status, I think you need to start lawyering up, get yourself an immigration lawyer, attorney, or whatever, and, handle your business. Don't break the law. There's people being snatched up, and they talk about, I've been a citizen here, then, but I like I explained to you, you might have been a citizen, you think you've been a citizen here, but you have not followed up on your status, especially if you've been in trouble with the law, as far as even a parking ticket or a traffic light ticket or something, a domestic violence situation or whatever. They ain't gonna mess with you. But if you have been in trouble with the Lord, you better be thinking about what's going to happen, when your name shows up in their database and they come looking for you. Okay? This is all I'm saying. Immigration is not a right, it's a privilege. And it could be taken away at any given moment, especially when you were not here as a born citizen. Especially when you didn't come here as a born citizen. You follow the law. You have no rights to be out there protesting against the government if you a naturalized citizen of America. As long as they in the guidelines of the law. What are you out there protesting for? That's because you want to change the system. Now you want to try to do that. It's time to go back to your country and try to change that system over there and go stay over there. You ain't trying to be out there protesting because you were like what happened to black people when we were here and we had to go out there and protest. It's totally different. Totally different. We were citizens. Hello? Y'all weren't. Y'all not. And then the dummies out there that's helping y'all, those people on drugs. Those people they have mental illness. These are some emotionally unstable people. Because there ain't no way I'm going to go out there and put my body out there and I see people standing out there with guns and all kind of, military equipment on them. And I'm going to go out there while this girl talking about they had whistles and all we had was that's right. That's why you should have stayed away. Dummy. They had guns and all we had was whistles. How stupid did that sound? You ain't had no right out there in the first place. You know they had guns, so you should have stayed yourself away. That's no excuse. Ignorance of the law. So anyway, we'll talk about those idiots later again. But I just wanted to just highlight on some things that's going on around this whole thing with immigration and these unrest protests that they want to decide to do this on Martin Luther King's birthday. That's why I said I'm going to do my Martin Luther King shout out before I get distracted with the noise. I'm doing it on the day that he was born, January the 15th. Here's Lakin Riley and Larissa Thompson. Mother killed by 6 illegal criminals in South Carolina. Lakin Riley forgotten by activists. Illegal immigrant advocacy versus American victims. These are the victims you should be protesting for, not in the enemy. Not the enemy against the United States. You don't protect the enemy who's the enemy against the United States. That's what you don't get. Whether you like them or not, it's just like me with my sister. Me and my sister may not like each other at some things. We don't get along on everything. We don't agree on everything. But one thing I'm not gonna do is march against my sister. I'm going to pray for my sister. I'm going to encourage my sister to turn her mind to the right, do the right thing or whatever. But one thing I'm not going to do is march against her. If anything, I'm going to try to win my sisters back. And that's what you need to be doing. You out here marching for people that hate us. That's coming over here killing and harming women. And y'all women. These people are coming in here raping and harming women. Vulnerable women. Helpless women. A young girl in school, college, Lakin Riley, and Larissa Thompson, a mother. Where's they faces out there on your so-called picket sign about get these illegal criminals out of here because of what they're doing to these mothers and these children and these young women out here? And I forgot about the little young white girl that was just killed up there in Boston. I mean, in Maine. Okay. What about her? What about her face? And so many others. These are just a few. These are just two. There's a whole list of them. I gotta get them so I could get their face all over the place. Okay, while y'all sit out there and march and harm ICE agents for illegals, and on top of that, dangerous criminals. These are the people y'all should be fighting for. I should hear your voice about these people. Say their name. Lake and Riley, Larissa Thompson, and all the others who died by the hands of the wicked. And with that being said, may your girl, Casey McDaniel that speaks, talk with you later. Let me start getting myself ready for this day. So with that being said, God bless you. Be safe. And please use good value judgment.